Imagine living in a world without ultimate meaning.
Okay. Well, would you look at that? It looks exactly the same as the one we're in right now. What a shonk. And yeah, so I'm guessing today that we have one of them, but if there am no ultimate meaning, that makes me sad, and things that make me feel sad are wrong kind of situations. Which as arguments go, I wish it wasn't stupid, because imagine if everything that made you feel bad didn't get to be true. I wouldn't not have my infinite whiskey bottle, and humans wouldn't get to keep walking slowly in front of me in the street when I'm trying to get somewhere, you know, because they would all be dead. Huzzah!
Where morality is just a social construct, and the origin of everything you see is left to chance.
Well, morality isn't strictly a social construct. If anything, it's an evolutionary construct. But as I have had to point out time and again, morality being something that comes from people or nature or whatever doesn't make it any less a real thing that happens. Otherwise, you might as well say that trees aren't real if there am no God. It just doesn't make sense as a thought or a sentence. And who told you that the origins of everything is just chance? Probably someone who doesn't know dick all about the scientific explanations of, anything ever.
It sounds bleak, right?
No, it sounds normal. Why do you think it isn't? Again, this universe is exactly what I would expect if, most of these things were true, and it's fine. Humans still use morality to take care of each other one way or the other, and while the universe itself is uncaring, we live in a small pocket of where things do care for each other, and I would say that's pretty cool. But for some reason there's people who just think that that is not good enough. They need to be loved personally by the biggest thing in and out of the universe, and then they'll go and call atheists arrogant for thinking that's probably not true. Irony's so thick, I'm pretty sure it causes car crashes.
But what if I told you that atheism, which is the belief that there is no God, fails 4 essential tests of truth?
Wow, so here you are talking about how atheism fails something, and you don't even know how people use the idea. Atheists, the people you are trying to prove wrong here, I have no doubt, don't tend to say there am no God 110% GGEZ. They tend to say, I don't know, but it would seem to me that there isn't one, especially the ones that are described in various faiths. I think the failure here is that religious boys think that the only definition of atheism is the philosophical one, and then wonder why everyone makes fun of them when they refuse to engage with any other possible definition.
In this video, we're going to uncover those 4 tests and show how atheism collapses under scrutiny.
I'm pretty sure that's not going to happen, and frankly, with either way of looking at it, but especially with how most atheists use it, since it's simply a thing that they believe, and unless you can magically convince them that God am big real, I don't really see anything collapsing but my faith in humans being capable of doing anything other than making a delicious smoothie. And no, I do not mean like that.
And reveal a worldview that truly satisfies both heart and mind.
I believe it, therefore it must be true. There's nothing more infuriating than the individual that assumes that because they are convinced of something, they absolutely 100% must be right, and there's no way they could be convinced otherwise. Even as a filthy, God-hating, baby-eating atheist, I am more than willing to have my mind change. In fact, I wait for it in pretty much every video. Unfortunately, all I ever hear is ridiculous nonsense that couldn't convince anyone but an utter moron of anything. But today will be different, obviously.
Stick around to the end to discover the truth that offers real hope and meaning.
I'll tell you what, if your 4 tests that atheism can't do aren't idiotic nonsense that make no sense and clearly have no understanding of what atheism even is, I'll be sure to do that. But if they are that, I can only assume your true dat real hope is almost certainly complete bollocks as well, mate.
By the way, don't forget, if you like my analysis of atheism, please like this video, subscribe to this channel, and share this video so people can accept Jesus as their Lord and Savior.
And if you are handsome, famous, and good at the sex, like and subscribe and all that shit to me. In fact, if you aren't, you should probably do it anyway, because now you'll have irrefutable proof that you are. It'll help me spread the word of whiskey and how it makes idiots ever so slightly more tolerable to deal with, especially the ones that keep getting in my way when I try to walk through the door into my reverse house. That guy's an asshole.
And this is what this channel is about. It's about defending the faith that was once delivered to the saints, uplifting Jesus, and preparing a people ready for his soon return.
So it's about wasting your goddamn time? Big oof, bro. Big oof.
Jesus is coming again. Let's get into atheism. Let's break it down.
Jesus, the guy that has been coming for 2,000 fucking years now. That is over 730,000 days. If someone told me that my best friend was definitely coming over to play video games this time, and I got up to a good chunk of a millionth time that they didn't, I would start to think that maybe he's not actually coming over to play. And certainly not to break down atheism. I mean, Jesus couldn't even break down an IKEA cupboard. What do you think this was all about?
When evaluating any worldview, including atheism, it must pass 4 critical apologetics tests.
Atheism isn't a fucking worldview. What are you talking about? Atheism is a part of many worldviews, sure. But saying atheism is a worldview is like saying wheels are vehicles. I mean, sure, you can try and transport goods on top of just a wheel, but without the rest of the car, it's gonna fall off more often than it gets you freaking anywhere. Almost as if something is missing.
The first is correspondence. Second, consistency. Next, comprehensiveness. And then practical application.
Oh, that sounds like a bunch of words. I'm sure they are going to be real smart, big brain ideas that make any sense to apply to any form of atheism. Fuck, I'll be surprised if they even apply to a single atheistic worldview whatsoever, but I have been surprised before. Like that one time I managed to get past Reflection Man and ended up outside for some reason. It was very weird.
These tests reveal whether a worldview aligns with reality, avoids contradictions, and explains life's big questions, and works in daily life.
Sure they do, and I'm also sure they totally work for your worldview because you say they do, or you have designed them to do that, even though they don't actually have any effect on anything at all, or some other stupid shit that makes no goddamn sense. No, it never happens.
But does atheism pass these tests? Let's find out. The correspondence test asks this: does this worldview match the observable world?
Okay. Hey, are there any gods around? What's that? None have shown up. Seems to me that not believing in things that aren't fucking there makes a ton of sense. Good job, Atheismo.
Atheism claims the universe emerged from nothing without a cause.
No, it fucking doesn't. Holy shit, I am so sick of hearing this lie. And that's what it is, because there's no way that enough of you at this point can't have heard that refuted 1 billion goddamn times by now. And yet, you all keep saying it at each other. Atheism says this scientific claim that has nothing to do with whether or not you believe in God or even that gods exist. Atheism can be true whether the universe comes from something or nothing, with or without a cause. What a shock that you would jump hard into the I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about camp.
Yet the observable world shows us that everything with a beginning must have a cause.
Except there's already at least one example of that not being the case, and just to be clear, me am a stupid, this is just what I've read and my comprehension of it. It seems in quantum mechanics, so-called virtual particles can appear to exist without cause, coming into existence apparently from nothing inside a vacuum, because of quantum fluctuations, although I'm not going to pretend I have any idea what those are supposed to be. But they sound cool as fuck. Now, it's obviously way more complicated than that, but it seems to be an example of, at least to our current understanding, something appearing to do that. Also, I'm pretty sure you have never witnessed a universe coming into existence, so you cannot extrapolate your experience of things that are not universes into the functioning of universes. That's not how that works.
The Bible says in Hebrews chapter 3 verse 4, "For every house is builded by some man, but he that built all things is God."
The Bible also says that shellfish is bad when it's clearly fucking delicious, so I don't really take much stock in what it has to say. And neither do most atheists, so trying to prove us wrong with a big book of bullshit doesn't really do much. Also, it's a claim. You actually have to prove that. You can't just say God did it and then end that thought, assuming you know how to think anything anyway.
How can atheism explain this foundational principle of causality?
Doesn't fucking need to. Again, the universe could be a lot of ways with atheism still being true, including a bunch of shit that theists would claim to be exclusive to their worldview, when it's not even exclusive to religion or the idea of gods in general. Small minds just cannot fathom that there's more to other things than what they have guessed about them.
Atheists argue that life exists by chance.
Nope.
But scientists have shown that the universe's constants like gravity, electromagnetism, and others are fine-tuned for life.
Fine-tuned is such a misnomer. It is how it is and results in life as we know it. There are other ways and things a universe could be that would result in life. Or perhaps this is the only way a universe can be, and it just so happens that it has the possibility of resulting in life. But frankly, calling it fine-tuned, even if something is the way you say, 99.9999 however many 9% of it is fine-tuned for killing the shit out of you. And even the planet that you are currently on, you can only really live on the dry bits. And even those, not all of them. And they're full of things that try to kill you constantly. Good job, God.
Chance doesn't correspond to such precision. Isn't design a more logical conclusion?
Only if you can prove universe designers, otherwise the answer is, I don't fucking know, which you don't, which is what makes you acting like you do know so infuriating. Also, there are other things that aren't chance that still aren't God did it, but why bother with nuance when you have all this lovely false dichotomy to play with?
If atheism can't explain the origin and order of the universe, is it really aligned with reality?
It does not need, nor does it attempt to do that. But if there are no gods and they don't show up to anything, is theism really aligned with reality? See, I can say stupid shit too.
I think it's out of this world. We'll revisit this. Consistency asks, does this worldview contradict itself?
Not a worldview. And does me not having experienced or seen any evidence for any or all gods that I have found compelling contradict the fact that I don't find the likelihood of gods, very likely? No, what would be inconsistent is if you know the world is the way that it is with the clearly no fucking gods in it and deciding, what's real? Gods. That would be really fucking stupid.
Atheism, or atheists, often say morality is subjective, shaped by evolution or society.
It is quite literally all of those things, and unless you can find some sort of morality constant that pervades the universe, you're not going to convince me otherwise. And again, morality being something that comes through natural phenomena or people, it just does not make it not a real thing. In fact, it's a very useful trait. So useful that the vast majority of people have many similar moral values. But do you know what pretty much no one has? The exact same set of them. Even people who hold to the same religion as you. Even people who are part of the same sect as you. You know why? Because morality is fucking subjective, dumbass.
But then, why do atheists also claim things like murder or oppression or are basically objectively wrong?
Because they cause suffering, dipshit. Why do you think that slavery is wrong? Your Bible and God appear to think that it's A-OK. But I would bet top shelf whiskey that you wouldn't say that slavery is good. At least not on purpose. No, any Bible religy boy who thinks that slavery is wrong got that idea from other places and then pretended that the Bible totally is against slavery because it has to be. Because it couldn't be wrong, could it? But guess what? It's wrong about so many fucking things. It's amazing to me that anyone thinks that it's anything other than total Bojack shit.
Romans 2:15 explains it perfectly. Explains the issue perfectly. Says, which show the work of the law written in their hearts.
Then explain why people have different opinions that they will die on many a hill for. If they know in their hearts they are either insane or you're just calling every person from every worldview a liar. which wouldn't surprise me, but it would make you a moron. So, it holds up.
Morality points to a moral lawgiver, God, who wrote the law in our hearts from the beginning. God created the sinless pair, Adam and Eve. The sinless pair, Adam and Eve.
That's a story, dumbass. A fictional tale to explain a thing that people who wrote the Bible didn't have any idea how a world or a universe or a humans happened, so they made it up.
And they had the law of God written in their hearts, but they made the wrong decision. You see, there is the moral principles that are ingrained in everyone.
And yet so meaningless that even the first people couldn't fucking do them. If I fucked something up so hard that the very first version and all that followed just didn't function, I wouldn't blame the thing that I clearly fucked up. I'd blame Steve. Fuck that guy.
And this is a point that there must be a creator who had done this work in us. Atheists argue that a good God would not allow evil.
Actually, atheists argue that a tri-omni God, the description of yours, should not be able to allow evil. That is to say, one who is able to stop evil and wants to stop evil, all-powerful, all-loving, cannot exist in a world where suffering comes to pass. Shocking that you wouldn't know the full argument. A good God can totally allow evil, by the way, if there is little or nothing he can do about it. Christ, you are dumb.
Yet in rejecting God, they're left with no standard for calling anything evil. How can atheism condemn what it claims doesn't objectively exist?
The same way I can condemn your brain even though there's no way there is one in that head of yours.
If atheism is inconsistent with its own claims, can it really be trusted? So let's press on.
You neither know what the claims of atheism are, nor what any of their arguments about your stupid fucking beliefs are. Should you really be trying to argue against it in your utter ignorance? I think not.
By the way, if you're enjoying this breakdown, check out my playlist.
No, and if you're going to waste my time with your shameless, unironic self-promotion, then I'm skipping to the quote-unquote meat of your arguments. I've got better/drunker things to be getting on with.
Let's get back to where we're supposed to be going here. Comprehensiveness. Comprehensiveness asks this question. Can this worldview explain the big questions of life?
Again, not a worldview, and it doesn't need to, and it isn't trying to. Did you even speak to an atheist before you made your stupid fucking list?
Atheism argues life arose through chemical evolution. But life's complexity, especially DNA's coded information, defies naturalistic explanations.
No, they didn't. You have confused chemical evolution with abiogenesis. They are not the same thing. And yes, naturalistic explanations do in fact explain the complexity of life on this planet. If you think there aren't scientific explanations for them, then you know nothing about biology. What a surprise that would be.
Big question. Is atheism's answer to life's origin sufficient?
Way more sufficient than fucking God did it. It took actual effort to follow the evidence, and that's not even atheists' answer. You're just giving them the science by default, which isn't the win that you think it is.
So stay tuned for the practical test.
Okay, but if it's fucking idiotic, I'm going to have to make fun of you for it, and no one wants that. Right, guys? Oh, never mind, these motherfuckers are savage and want blood.
Here it comes. The practice test asks this question. Can this worldview work in real life?
Ignoring the constant caveats that I have to throw at you this whole video, it can and it does. Many atheistic worldviews exist, and the people who hold them are able to enjoy happy, healthy, and fulfilled lives. And they don't even have to be massive fucking morons. Sounds pretty good to me.
Wait, before you go, I have something super important to tell you. It's life or death. It will change everything forever. Nope, wait, it's gone. Oh well, probably wasn't important. But while I have you, don't forget to comment, subscribe and notify. And if you want more of my smexy voice, check out Mrs. Six's channel Spoonstaff Stories, where I narrate and voice all the videos, and she does the work. And if you want to support the channel, check out the merch store for cool t-shirts, or check out Patreon, memberships and PayPal to support directly. Finally, follow me on the medias of social to get completely pointless guff and to keep up on the latest releases. Oh, I just remembered what I was going to tell you. Whatever you do, don't touch the